Hi everybody, welcome to week 3 of beginner web development. Today we are going to be building a multi-page website. Now starting off, we're going to make multiple HTMLs. We're going to make a tips, contact, and about HTML. To do this, you'll just click add HTML and rename it to these names. Let's start off with coding our index HTML. We're going to start off with writing our typical head, which is doc type, then the lang, then the meta, but for the title, we'll write green steps -home. And of course, we'll end it off with a link rel and then close off our head. Then we're going to write body and NAV. We already dealt with NAV in our last week, but to sum it up, it's the navigation of all of our HTMLs. Then we'll write UL, which is unordered list, and then list item, index HTML, and we're going to name it home. And then close off the A, and then close off the list item. Then we'll do the same thing for all the rest of our HTMLs. We'll name tips, eco tips, about, and contact. Then finally, we'll close off our unordered list and our navigation. Then we'll start off with making the header. We'll write the title in H1, Welcome to Green Steps. Then underneath the title, we'll write in regular text, learn how to make small changes that help the planet. Then we'll close off the header. Next, we'll make a section. We'll title it Why Go Green in header 2. Then, in regular text, we'll write Every action matters, from recycling to reducing energy use. Together we can make a difference. And then, we'll add an image to our section by writing image src equals trees JPEG, alt single free tree class banner. Then we'll close off our section. Lastly, we'll end off our code by writing our footer, and in regular text we'll write and copy. And copy is a shortcut to the copyright symbol. And then after we'll write 2025 Green Steps Initiative. Then we'll close off our footer, body, and HTML. And now we've built our home page. Next we'll code our tips HTML. We'll start off our code and we'll write Green Steps Eco Tips for our title. Then we'll write our navigation code at the top of our tips so we can go back to the home page or to any other page. Then for our header, we'll write H1 eco-friendly tips and then close off. After that, in regular text, we'll write simple actions you can take every day to protect the environment and then close off our header. Then we'll make a section and then unordered list class tips list. So for the first 3, we'll write recycle paper, plastic and glass, bike or walk instead of driving, turn off your tap while brushing your teeth. And then for the last 3, we'll write use reusable bags, plant a tree, and plug devices, and so on. Then we'll close off our unordered list and then our section. Lastly, we'll write our footer and our copyright. And then we'll close off our footer, our body, and our HTML. Make sure to include the body at the top here. Now we can write our about HTML. We'll start off our code by writing what we did for all the others, but this time naming it Green Steps About and having the navigation list at the top again. Next, we'll have our header and then our title in H1 about green steps. And then in regular text, our mission is to inspire small steps that lead to big environmental change and then close off our header. Next, we'll make a section and then in regular text, write a little bit about what we believe in. Under that text, we'll insert an image called environment.jpg and then alt trees. This alt represents the text that's going to show up if our image doesn't show. Then we'll close off our section. Then we'll make our footer, close off our body, and close off our HTML. Now we can move on to our last page, our contact HTML. We'll start off our code like regular, but we'll title it Green Steps Contact. Then for our header, we'll write in H1 Contact Us, and then in regular text under that, we'll write We'd love to hear your ideas or questions, and then close off our header. Then we'll create a section and then a form. We've dealt with forms in previous videos, so if you're unsure how those work, check out our previous weeks. For our label, we'll put name for our name, and then our input type will be text, our ID will be name, and then the placeholder will be your name. The placeholder basically is just text that shows up before you decide to edit it. Next, we'll do a label and input for our email with the placeholder your email. Then we'll do a label and text area for our message with the placeholder being your message here. The rows will be 5 and the cols will be 30. Rows is basically the height of our text area and cols is the width. Then we'll make an input type submit with the value send message and then close off our form. And then we'll close off our section. Lastly, we'll make our footer, and then close off our footer, and then close off our body in HTML. Now it's time to move on to our style CSS. For our style CSS, we're going to code our body first. We'll write body in a bracket first. Then we'll set the font family to Arial and sans serif. Then the background color to hashtag E8, F5, E9. The color to hashtag 2E, 7D, 32. The margin and padding to 0 as well. Then for our navigation, we'll have the display as flex, the justify content as center, list style none, background color A5D6A7, margin 0, and the padding 10 pixels. Justify content aligns the flexible containers items when the items do not use all of the available space on the main axis. For this one, we all align them for the center, so we write center and it shows up at the center. For the navigation list items, we'll set the margin to 0.15 pixels, and then for the text of those list items, we'll write nav ul list item A, and then we'll write text decoration none, color 1B5E20, and the font weight bold. To code the underline that appears when we hover a cursor over the titles, we'll write nav ullia :hover, and then text decoration underline. For the header, we'll set the text align to center, the padding 30 pixels and 20 pixels, the background color hashtag C8, E6, C9, and the border bottom being 2 pixels solid at 81, C784. For our sections, we'll have the padding at 20 pixels and the text align center. For our tips lists, we'll have the list style as none, the padding 0, and the font size 18 pixels. Then, to code the list items in the tip list, we'll write padding 10 pixels, 0, so that there's space between the text. For the form, we'll make the max width 400 pixels, the margin 0 auto, and the text align left, so everything goes on the left side. Then the background color will be F1F 8E9, the padding 20 pixels, the border radius 10 pixels, so it's slightly rounded on the corners, and then the box shadow 0010 pixels, RGBA 50, 150, and 0.1. RGBA is a different type of color model than our hexadecimal code, where it uses red, green, and blue to make the colors, and alpha, the A here, to control the transparency/opacity. For the form input in the form text area, we'll make the width 100%, padding 8 pixels, margin top 5 pixels, border radius 1 pixel solid at AED 581, border radius at 5 pixels, and font size at 16 pixels. For our input type right here, which is the send message, we'll make the background color 81C784, the color white, the font weight bold, the border none, the margin top 10 pixels, and the cursor to move into a pointer when we hover over it. Then to code this change of color that happens when we hover over it, we'll write form input type equals submit, hover, and then background color 66BB6A. For the banner, we'll code the width at 80%, the max width 600 pixels, the border radius 10 pixels, and the margin top 20 pixels. For the footer down here, the background color will be A5D6A7, the text align center, the padding 15 pixels, and the margin top 30 pixels. And now we have a working multi-page website. Let's check it out. We can now see that all of our pages work great. And the hover works here.